vaping and hookahs for kids?
It's total madness, and it's a testimony to the culture. But I had to think about it. When we was kids, we used to have candy cigarettes, right? They used to be like the one that was like a jawbreaker, but it was like cylindrical, like a cigarette. And then there used to be the one that like had a little butt on it, and it would have gum inside. Then there used to be the one that had a little butt on it that had chocolate inside. And I used to the ones with the chocolate inside. I used to really mess with those. They had the candy cigar that was gum. So in thinking about that, it doesn't make it as radical, but it's still all of it is insane, right? So I remember a story. I was probably like, bro, I was going into the fourth grade. It was the summer before fourth grade. I'm at the Puyallup Fair, Puyallup, Washington, and man, I came. I was extra at the fair, mind you. It might sound crazy. I'm probably 10, 9, 9, 10, something like that. But at this point, I'm just I'm fresh into gang banging at this point, right? And I did my whole head blue. I took the color spray can and did my whole head blue. Had a whole blue outfit on, and I'm at the fair, and I'm with I don't even to be honest with you, I can't even tell you who I was with. Older adults though, I was with grown people. I don't know if I was with like my cousins or I don't know who I was with to be honest. But my whole head is blue, and I'm walking around this damn fair with a candy cigarette in my mouth, and I probably think in my head I'm like the hardest nigga ever. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? As a child, and I went to a new school because we moved. So I was going to a new school, going to Grant Elementary to come Washington. And I remember it was an older. I'm in fourth grade now, and there's an older kid in fifth grade, Colonius, I think his name was. And I remember he was like, "Nigga, I seen you at the fair. You had your whole head blue, and you had a cigarette in your mouth, right?" And the way he said it is exactly like the image I was trying to portray. Like I felt so hard because I was walking around, and then somebody remembered. This was a couple months ago, nigga, but I remember you. I just remember how hard I felt, right? As a little dumbass kid. Um, and it's but why? Why would I feel hard like that? Oh, because the adults they smoke cigarettes, and it's not even a real cigarette. But that nigga thought I had a real cigarette in my mouth. That's crazy, right? And I was against smoking, but I knew this looked hard though, right? In the same way, a kid who now sees the modern person vaping, the modern adult vaping, hitting that hookah, especially the way these girls are addicted to hookah, right? And I remember I talked to a young lady one time and I said, well, like, so we was out one night, me and the guys in this room, we was out one night and we went to a spot. And the waitress, she told me that the boss made a rule that the waitresses couldn't do hookah while they was on shift, right? And we of course don't have a hookah in our section, but the section next to us has a hookah. And she looks over and she's shaking. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like, what's up with you? She's like, I can't smoke the hookah. And I'm like, is it that big a deal? And she's like, yeah, it's that big a deal. So I'm like, why? You know, why is the hookah such a big deal to you? And she explains that it gives you something to do. That's all the hookah really does. Because when you go to this club, you're here, and this is how crazy adults are, right? So people in the club, you might dance, you might stand around, you might talk to your friends, but sometimes you might just be standing around because ain't nothing to talk about. It's loud. You don't want to, you might not. You're just kind of standing there, right? So to avoid having that idle just standing there time, these girls they smoke hookah, right? That's what this whole thing is. So they don't have to be on their phone. So they don't have to interact with other people that not the people they came with. It's the hookah. That's really, and that's why it was so genius for the Arab man to introduce that to black people in black clubs. That's why it was genius on their part. It's giving people something to do, right? Instead of standing around, instead of staring at their phone and just only being on Instagram and showing everybody they out, but not really engaging and being out. So, um, it's just a dangerous message because all this stuff is tobacco products, the vape is all this stuff is cancer causing. You can try to clean it up all you want, um, but all of this stuff is harmful. Um, so, and it's sending that message to the kids, and it's getting the kids just like a lot of the kids were getting started with cigarettes, right? Early. Some people have figured cigarettes out. A lot of people have figured cigarettes out, right? Surgeon General warning, right on that pack. People are figuring cigarettes out, right? So instead they're vaping and they're doing hookah, right? So these kids are now, they got to be ready to vape and do hookah. You see what I'm saying? And the devil gonna kill us the same way either way.
What do you think about people who, because you mentioned her shaking, and I thought immediately you were gonna say because she was like had some form of addiction, because I thought
She had a hookah addiction.
Yeah, but I'm saying they say, like, I remember doing research when I was in school about how much nicotine is in a cigarette versus in a hookah, and the amount of, like, you see people blowing them thick ass clouds. There's a lot of carcinogens that they're putting in their lungs, and so when you mention it's people to fix the time of standing there idly, what they would rather do is slowly kill themselves.
Then do nothing.
So the rationale is so crazy. So instead of them appearing as if they're wasting their time, they're gonna actually waste their time.
Actually waste their time.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
That is radical when you think about it. No.
No, absolutely.
That's radical. Right.
And where does that kind of remind you or kind of get you to think about how much drugs are tolerated in this culture? Because I remember, like,
it's a druggy culture.
Man, weed, when I was, and I'm not that old, you know what I mean, but 10 years ago, weed was way different than weed is right now. People were still getting Mexican weed 10 years ago. Now you get
Mech.
Right.
Mech was still a thing.
That blocky. Yeah.
Now it's only za.
So I basically asked you, how much worse do you think it's ever going to get to a point where you might actually see a child that's just regularly smoking a hookah?
The way that this world is going, almost nothing would surprise me. Like, this world is I can't say it enough. It's really going to hell in a handbasket. It's on a highway to hell in a Hellcat. In the limited edition Hellscat. It's on a highway to hell in the limited edition Dodge Demon. Like that. Like, it's 1,000 horsepower flying to hell right now.
Is there, okay, you mentioned there's nothing that does surprise you. What is the one thing that has surprised you the most? To where you saw something in the news and said, okay, wait a minute, this is...
I don't know.
Right, okay.
There's some stuff for sure.
Right.
What surprised me recently is in Sweden they got the suicide machine.
Oh, wow.
They got a machine in Sweden that's legal, and you go into and kill your ass in like 60 seconds. Legal. Somebody can just go kill themselves.
Now, how do you know if somebody killed themselves or somebody forced them in there to kill them?
So I'm saying, like, that's so problematic. And, like, how do you work there at the place where people go to kill themselves? Hey, oh, what's going? You don't talk them out of it. Hey, what's up? Yeah, you want to kill yourself? Come on.
What's it like as a father in this society? How hard is it and difficult to raise your children and let them know, like, everywhere they look and turn and see, this is bad. Here's why it's bad. Don't do this.
Man, you got to constantly be on your kids, and you have to instill certain things in them at a very early age so they understand what they're dealing with and identify it and react properly to it, because there's it's so much. But, like, it's weird. It's weird because we were exposed to a lot as kids, for sure. I think I was definitely exposed to a lot as a kid, but, like, at the same time, I just feel like certain stuff is just, they're almost exposed to more in a different way. I think, like, it's kind of being given to them at their, like,
They have there's more evil shit now as opposed to bad shit.
Yeah, it's more evil shit as opposed to bad shit. That's a good way to put it. Like, we was exposed to bad shit, but we wasn't so much exposed to like evil, dark shit.
Right.
We were exposed to things that like only adults should know about.
Right.
They're exposed to things that even adults shouldn't know about
Exactly.
nowadays, and it's crazy, bro. The indoctrination they trying to get the kids like, you gotta really be on kids. You gotta watch what they looking at, the type of content that they're taking in, and then it's hard because they have handheld devices now. They got a phone or they have a tablet, and they're kind of engaging in whatever they find entertaining, and this is absent of your intervention or your monitoring at all times. So they have, and then you have the people who are creating this content. Then they now, if they have sinister intentions, can easily slip things into the kids, because they know the kids are going, long periods of time with access to this without you monitoring. So now they can do whatever they want to do.
I just looked up the suicide machine, and it's crazy because when you talk about evil, right? This will actually influence people to actually want to die, whether it be on the hospital beds, or adults might think that this is just a cool way to go out. Like, people will actually think that.
Yeah, like that suicide machine. That's a dangerous invention to have.
Very.
Because it's like, what did you just feel? How many people have felt like killing themselves, and they didn't because they just couldn't bring themselves to do it? Like, I'm not gonna slit my own wrist. I'm not gonna shoot myself in the head. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. So then they just don't do it, or somebody talks them off the ledge. But what now? Like, I'm gonna just go here. They got a machine. I'll be dead in no time. Like, why don't I just go to this place and just get it done? And maybe that person kind of was overreacting. So I think that right there, that's fucking dangerous. A suicide machine, that is dangerous.
Would you say is another way of population control?
I would say so.
Mm.
And Sweden has, coincidentally enough, been a constant guinea pig of population control devices. I mean, they were the first ones to have job sites. You got the mark of the beast, the chip in your hand to enter in, in and out the job. So Sweden has, coincidentally enough, been a spot where they've been testing things out. And coincidentally enough, you got the Swiss bank accounts and Geneva Convention and things like that. It's very funny.
What is cocaine?
Well, cocaine is a word I came up with, which is, taking clout and merging it with cocaine. We know cocaine is a highly addictive substance that has wreaked havoc on this country and the world over, but especially in Black and Hispanic communities in one form or another. So I've taken the clout and the cocaine, merged it together. We call it cocaine because clout is the new drug. The new drug that's ravishing our communities. The new thing that everybody is hell-bent on. The definition of drug is a medicine or other substance which has a physiological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. So clout, it is a substance. And when introduced into people's body, it has a physiological effect that's noticeable. And we see people constantly getting high off of this clout and this validation, almost to the point where it seems like a mental disorder, right? It's like serial killers. You had serial killers like, if y'all remember the BTK killer, right? I think BTK beat them, tortured them, killed them. I think is what it stood for. And he got away with all of his murders for years. Then he started leaving clues around that actually led to his apprehension. And we've seen this in other serial killers. And the reason for that is, even though they've geniusly orchestrated several crimes, heinous murders, right? And got away with it through their sick, twisted, demented, genius, they still want the credit for it. They still want the credit for the genius that they did. And that's what we see now. People, they want to do things for the validation of other people. You want to show everybody you have a gun. You want to show everybody you shoot your gun. You want to tell everybody you've killed people and these are the people that you've killed because you want credit for that, because you want the validation of other people that is attached to them knowing that you've done such things. So that's what cocaine is. It's that drug. It's that substance of clout that alters people, right? That people have very clearly become addicted to. That's what cocaine is.
What is the cure for clout?
The cure for clout? Jesus Christ. The Most High God, His Son, Hamashiach, Yahushua, they call Jesus Christ. I'm going to give you some validation here. You don't need no other validation other than blacks and Hispanics. You're the Israelites. Mm-hmm. You're the chosen people of God. Yeah. I mean, what in the hell is more valid than that? What more validation is? God loves you and only you. God has chosen you and only you. And God has exalted you above all other people on earth. That should be all the clout you need.
All praise to the Most High.
All praise to the Most High. Shalom.